This is Marjabin Garaj from Pakistan, and you are watching my YouTube channel Insani Itihad, which aims to invoke a little bit of humanity in all of us through awareness and understanding. So today I'm going to talk about again the third part of the case of Khalsa, and I will try to round it off as quickly as possible. So, having said that, there is a historical evidence that the Khalsa Raj was present before the British invasion, and during the British invasion of the subcontinent, they put up a brave resilience and a fight against imperialism or colonization, and the fact that for giving sacrifice, especially sacrifice through and Bhagat Singh was a martyr, is considered a martyr, who actually put up a fight against the British, and he was declared a terrorist, just like the Jewish, the Jewish groups who, evidently and bravely fight for the independence and the division of then mandated colony called Palestine by the British, to have a Jewish state and the Arab Muslim state. The third and the another reason is that although the Hindus say that they are Kesadari Hindus, and Sikhism is not a separate religion, is actually violating their right for the affiliation of religious sentiments or religious identity. Sikhism, after all, is apart from Hinduism and Hindu concepts, and it's also apart from the Muslim concept. So, therefore, the case for Khalistan is very, very strong that one, it's a separate religion, it's a separate nation with having had the history of having its own independence and sovereignty at a region which was divided deliberately by the British and Pakistani Muslims and Indian Hindus to punish the Sikhs for putting up a fight against colonialism. And the colonial imperialists, the British, actually favored, just like they favored the Arabs, by creating 5 times bigger land, or a country called Jordan, and a smaller piece of land for the Jewish people. And they declared their independence. British didn't even give them the land. And I think Sikhs should follow the steps of the Jews. They should also declare independence in Punjab, and including Haryana, Himachal, and IOK in Indian occupied Kashmir, and then later on expand and unite their territories like POK and the Pakistani Punjab, which was an integral part of the Khalsa Raj, and more so the most religious and highly regarded, the center of the Sikhism. Those holy places are actually in the other side of the border, and they were deliberately cut off by the British, the Muslims, and the Hindus to punish the Sikhs. Kartarpur, where Nankana Sahib left this world, and the Gurdwara is made there, and he spent many years there preaching for Akal Purakh, preaching for Sikhism, preaching for anti-paganism and anti-adultery, and connecting to Hashem, connecting to Waheguru, and then where he was born, Nankana Sahib, actually, which is in the Narwal district of the Pakistani Punjab. So their most holy places, two of the most holy places, and actually three. In Islamabad, they have a Gurdwara which symbolizes a miracle which Guru Nanak had performed, and it is there. So three major Gurdwaras, which are or holy places associated with the founder of Sikhism, are actually present in Pakistan, were deliberately cut off. And I have been through Kartarpur, having been through Nankana Sahib, and having been had the privilege and honor of visiting And actually it was a kirpa from Vaheguru to actually be able to visit such holy places and to get to know about their tradition. So I was personally very very hurt when me and my sister, we went to Nankana Sahib Gurdwara, and we saw, and it was Guru Nanak's birthday actually, and there is a special kirtan, there is special prayers which are sung actually and narrated. So there was a kirtan, there was a special langar on that occasion, and we went there and we saw that Sikhs were allowed in, Hindus were allowed in, but Muslims were barred from entering the Gurdwara, premises. And the justification was that this is a high security, event, and people are coming from India and all over the world. Sikhs are coming and visiting this, their holy place, and Muslims are therefore, and Pakistani Muslims therefore particularly, are barred from visiting. But thankfully a brother, a Sikh brother from here, from Sindh, ironically we had no idea, had requested that these girls have come all the way from Hyderabad, Sindh, and we know them. They have been visiting here in our Gurdwara near to Hyderabad, in the city of Hala, and we know them personally, and we have told them that this is the occasion and they can come for ardas, for prayer, and to see. And we actually went for, of course, the late singer Sidhu Moosewala, because he wanted to come to visit Lahore and Islamabad. So this guy requested them, and on his request, and maybe again I would say the kirpa of Vaheguru, that we were allowed, we were the only two Muslim women who were allowed into the premises. Of course there were security personnel and there were women police officers there, but they weren't there for especially participating in the prayers or ardas, or to going visiting the compound and the sanctuary. But I had it hurt my heart, and it hurt my younger sister's heart very very deeply when we saw the mismanagement which was there. Of course the security personnel did whatever they could, and with the limited resources, the Pakistani authorities, but they could did whatever they could, but they could have done better. I mean, it is their holiest place. I mean, just imagine how would a Muslim feel when they are mistreated, or their holy place is mistreated in Makkah and Medina. I mean, look at the fancy hotels, look at the cleanliness, look at the management on Hajj, and when people go for Umrah, it's such a clean place, but there was so much filth around that area, not in, of course, not in the Gurdwara compound and in that premises, but there were no decent places to live. We just spent one night there. There was this Amrit Vela, early morning, kirtan and special prayer on that day when Guru Nanak was born, at that very time. So we just spent that. We listened to the kirtan, we prayed, and we did our ardas, and then we immediately went for Kartarpur. And it was like, again, a divine providence that Hashem provided us, the Vaheguru provided us the opportunity. But seeing women, and I was especially hurt that in a Gurdwara, even men, when they enter a Gurdwara, they cover their hair with I mean, the Sikhs have turbans, their hairs are covered. But even if you are not a Sikh, and you are a Hindu or a Muslim, you have to cover your hair. A man has to cover his hair. And we saw Hindu girls, their hairs blow dried and straightened, and they were wearing jeans, and all sorts of not very appropriate dress for a Gurdwara, and they were roaming around the Gurdwara on the very day Guru Nanak was born. And his, that special event when the sanctuary, or the Gurdwara itself is on a higher spiritual level. And me and my younger sister, we will literally, it was early in the morning, and it was Amrit Vela, the kirtan was there, and afterwards they served us the prasad, the food, the langar. We had breakfast langar, we had the prasad, we prayed, and And we were standing there thinking and crying. We were literally crying, and we were crying for the state of the matter, which was, there, that there was no facilitation. We met, I saw this lady, this old lady, and she said that I had this open heart surgery, I had a bypass, and I have a heart issue, and my son, my young son, was killed, for whatever reason. I didn't get the chance to, but she was said, my son died, and then I had a heart issue, I got a bypass, and now I wanted to come, visit this holiest place. And we have been traveling a lot, and although it's a very short distance, but she said we have been traveling a long way, and we have been checked multiple times, after crossing the Pakistan-India border, and I am sick. And she was like breathing so excessively, and she was walking so slowly, and I just said, why? I mean, and there was so much of rush while passing those metal detectors. And I said, ma'am, what's, and she was waiting for her husband, and there were two, it was a couple, and she was saying that I'm waiting for my Sardarji. And I said, let me walk you. So I hold her hand, and I slowly helped her walk. And there was segregation, gender segregation. Men were from the other, and women from the other row, and it was a congested row. The facilitation has to be improved. And she herself said that if you have checked us once at one checkpoint, second checkpoint, then that's it. Why check again and again? It frustrates us. So my heart, we were crying that why can't they have sovereignty over their holy places so that they can manage them well, and facilitate their own people. And the reason that we didn't stay more was that I didn't want it to occupy us. We didn't want it to occupy two spaces, because we wanted more Sikh people to come and even take our places and have this opportunity to have this spiritual in a connection with their guru, with their, with a kalpa. So it was heartbreaking, and that is the reason that I want that Khalistan should be a reality. Khalistan should be a sovereign country, so that they have the right to practice their religion, their tradition, and they have access to their holy places just like everyone else. And it also reminded me that had in 67, had the Israeli army not conquered Jerusalem, our holy temple would have been in this garbage and this clutter of things. I mean, Baruch Hashem, that in 1967, we won with the help of Hashem and got our holy place, Jerusalem, and our holy temple. So, we have to make sure that, it stays in our hand, it stays in the Jewish hands, and it stays in hands that which respect this holy place, so that Jewish people have the access to Kotel, to the Wailing Wall. And it's not good to give the holy places. I mean, how would Muslims feel if Hindus or Christians or Jews would manage Makkah and Medina, or the holy places of Shias in Iraq and Iran? So how would they feel in Syria, Iraq, Iran, and Syria? They would. I'm pretty sure they would not allow it. Hindus have demolished Babri Mosque just because they thought that it was the birthplace of Ram, their god. So this liberty should be given to every community, every religious community. Religious identities, affiliation should be provided, and these are the things which I feel strongly to support this community to have their own sovereign land and their own sovereign country, because they have a history, and it's not something that the British or the Pakistanis or Indians are giving them a favor. It's their right. They should have their country, Khalistan, and they shouldn't be mocked. They shouldn't be deprived of their freedom. So I hope this 3-part session was informative, and you are able to understand the basis and the reason why Khalistan is so important for the Sikhs. And I wish that they get their freedom as soon as possible. Thank you very much.